Hi guys, welcome to Counterpoints Star Wars. My name is Connor. I'm a science fiction, political, and philosophy nerd and a Marine Corps and law enforcement veteran, and I love breaking down awesome stories. Star Wars is one of the most popular intellectual properties in existence. George Lucas was inspired by Carl Jung, and with it chronologically set a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, it seems only right that we break it down and give it some love. Warhammer 40k will always be my first love, but I would be lying if I told you that I didn't find parts of Star Wars compelling and other parts of it repulsive. You don't need to have an understanding of this, but I do have a YouTube episode that explains my unified timeline of science fiction that takes all the best of science fiction and fantasy and combines them into a single narrative as Warhammer prehistory. Star Wars could technically be set in this universe because of its place in time and space.
Korriban, ancient birthplace of the Sith. We believed ruins were all that remained of their evil empire.
I swear, I had no idea what was in those crates. I'm innocent.
You were smuggling Sith artifacts, Captain.
Fine, keep the artifacts. Just give me back my ship.
Eyes front.
Just inspecting the troops, Corporal.
Satele, what's wrong?
I sense a great darkness.
Sith Empire has returned. We must warn the Republic.
Our shuttles can't outrun those fighters.
Well, guess who's got the fastest ship in the sector?
Station defenses breach. All hands evacuate.
Look out!
Will she fly?
She's not pretty, but she's tough.
Captain, prep your ship. This is our fight.
Up until recently, we had assumed that the Earth might be the earliest host of life in the universe because we emit massive amounts of radio waves detectable in space, and we have not discovered another civilization similar to our own yet. However, with recent advances in satellite technology, particularly the James Webb Telescope, we have discovered something interesting about distant galaxies. There are galaxies so far away that we can see into their primordial past. There were galaxies that formed, birthed stars, and burnt out far earlier than the Milky Way, meaning that an entire cycle of life, stellar conquest, and death could have occurred billions of years before our comparatively recent birth. This means that the Star Wars galaxy could be set 10 billion years ago in a galaxy far, far away, and we would be none the wiser. For the sake of entertaining lore, let's pretend that this is exactly the case. In the Star Wars galaxy, complex biological beings developed, including ones identical to humans, but humans were not the dominant species in that galaxy at first. In the Star Wars timeline, they used the Battle of Yavin, in which the first Death Star was destroyed by Rebel forces, as their BC AD distinction, and so timelines are based on before the Battle of Yavin, referred to as BBY, and after the Battle of Yavin, ABY. The Rakatan were the first dominant species of the galaxy. They were bipedal amphibians and were force-sensitive tyrants. In the Warhammer universe, it is called the Warp, but in the Star Wars universe, it is called the Force. The Force is an extra-dimensional connection that flows through all things, and life in particular can develop a strong connection to it. Living beings can tap into the Force in order to wield impressive powers, and the Rakatan were the first practitioners. The Rakatan used their power to create the first hyperdrives and to conquer and enslave all rival species. This allowed them to create an empire of 500 worlds called the Infinite Empire, which began 36,000 years BBY and ended approximately 25,000 years BBY. Few would stand up to them except for dark side users known as the SITH. In the Star Wars universe, you can see a diversity of species cohabitating and even having extra-species romantic relationships, and this is because of the Rakatan. They enslave populations and force them into specializations, and then traffic these slaves across the galaxy, resulting in the diversity seen in later times. A prominent example of this is the Twi'lek, who were highly valued as pleasure slaves. The Rakatan's hubris led to their downfall. A disease that only affected the Rakatan was unleashed and devastated their empire. 90% of the population was wiped out, and those who remained lost their connection to the Force. It is suspected that this was a bioweapon created by an enslaved species in vengeance for the barbarism of their masters. By throwing off the shackles of the Rakatan, a power vacuum was created, one dominated by two forces: the Republic and its Jedi, and the Sith and their Dark Force users. Originally, the Jedi were mystic students of the Force in all its aspects. They inhabited a force-balanced world of Tython in the galactic core. If a student became too enamored in one side of the Force, they would be exiled until balance was re-established. They attempted to harmonize with the Force and push life towards justice and goodness while still being a highly reclusive organization. The Rakatan, in a last-ditch effort to save their Force sensitivity, invaded Tython in 25,793 BBY, but were fought off. A decade later, Dark Jedi and Light Jedi waged a devastating war across the surface of the planet. The planet was left in ruins, and so the faction of Light relocated to Ossus in self-imposed exile. In the year 25,000, the Jedi Order joined the Republic as an aligned institution committed to promoting galactic peace. The Republic helped put down another breakaway faction of Dark Jedi, and after much debate, the Jedi joined the Republic as battlefield commanders in their war with the Chinese Empire. The Jedi established themselves as galactic peacekeepers, trying to bring harmony to the Republic whenever possible, preferably through diplomacy, but through force of arms if necessary. The Sith species were located on the planet of Korriban in the Galactic Rim, and were as acclimated to the dark side of the Force as any lifeform could be. Their domestic culture emphasized tribalism, martial excellence, power in the Force, and a might-makes-right mentality. This limited their ability to grow culturally, but it also promoted the strongest, most cunning, and most powerful in the Force to the upper ranks of their society. They didn't see the constant politics, backstabbing, front-stabbing, and games of power they played as detrimental, but as a way in which to hone their species to the peak of potential. This propensity for conflict made them early allies of the Rakatan Empire, but also prepared them for the Rakatan's betrayal. The Sith were one of the few species strong enough to fight the Infinite Empire off. In 7000 BBY, the Second Great Schism saw a new generation of Dark Jedi emerge, and after a century of war, they were defeated and exiled. The dark side of the Force led them to the planet of Korriban, where they met the Sith species. The Dark Jedi's power was revered by the Sith people, and the Dark Jedi became enamored with Sith culture, finding it perfectly in line with their understanding of the dark side of the Force. The Dark Jedi were able to modify their very biology with sorcery and began intermixing with the Sith species. In doing so, they created red-skinned Sith hybrids, mixed-tone hybrids, and human Sith that appeared fully human but carried within them the propensity for the dark side of the Force of their Dark Jedi and Sith forebears. The Dark Jedi merged with the Sith and adopted that name as a religious moniker. Even Sith appearing fully human will call themselves Sith if they are practitioners of their culture. The Sith never forgot their exile and swore vengeance on the Jedi and their allies in the Republic. The Rakatan had used the Force to control their hyperspace drives, and when they died out, the technology became rare if not impossible to use. This meant that much of the galaxy was relegated to near space jumps at sublight speed, decreasing the interconnectedness of the galaxy. Around 5000 BBY, hyperdrive technology was rediscovered and mass-produced, but this unleashed a great danger. Republic explorers found Korriban on accident, alerting the fledgling Sith Empire to arrival and new realms for conquest. The Sith united and launched into Republic space, conquering, slaughtering, and enslaving worlds. It took the full military might of the Republic and Jedi to push them back. A defeated Dark Lord of the Sith named Sato returned to Korriban, but only found a rival had replaced him and now wished to destroy his battle-damaged fleet. The two rivals fought it out, but as they were doing so, the Republic fleet arrived, annihilating both forces. Sato and a splinter of his forces fled. Many Sith fought and died against the Jedi and the Republic allies. Many Sith committed ritual suicide, unwilling to be captured and brought to heel by these invaders. Few Sith remain on Korriban, effectively making it a tomb world with a few survivors wandering the wastes. The remainders of Sith forces were on the run in the Outer Rim, hunted by Republic and Jedi forces, cementing their defeat. An ambitious, if little known, Dark Lord Vitiate consolidated 8,000 Sith nobles onto the planet of Nathema and ritually sacrificed them and the planet's population with a doomsday weapon. He absorbed their essence, becoming a perpetual. Not only was the Emperor of the Sith immortal, but if destroyed in body, he could possess another, guaranteeing his intercession in events to come. For roughly 1,000 years, the Republic lived in peace, but this was the calm before the storm. Around the year 4000, an invasion by the warrior culture the Mandalorians and a series of Dark Jedi rebellions racked the Republic, including the Dark Jedi turned Sith Lord Revan and Malak. While these conflicts were resolved by feats of arms, this was just the prelude to a full-scale invasion by the Sith Emperor in 3681, in which the cinematic is set.
T7, cut the iron cannons.
Go, Satil. You must walk a different path.
On those guns, now!
They've escaped, Master. You failed.
No, Malgus. This is only the beginning.
Yes. After 1,000 years, Korriban is ours again. Welcome home.
After 1,000 years of relative peace, and the only wars being with Mandalorians and Sith LARPers, the Republican Jedi left a small outpost over Korriban. While this was the birthplace of the Sith, there were more graves than living Sith on the surface, making rebellion from the planet a small concern. What was of more concern was archaeologists, grave robbers, and cultists who wished to pick at the surface looking for artifacts and totems of power. This was considered a law enforcement issue, and so a small force of Republic troopers and a handful of Jedi were responsible for system security. Padawan Satil Shan, a descendant of Revan, is shown here studying under Battlemaster Khao Sen Derek. It is she who first senses the Sith fleet breaking over Korriban, which the Republic outpost is terribly under-equipped to deal with. Outlaw Nico Okar, originally detained by the Republic for smuggling Sith artifacts, is released and given his pistols considering he is the pilot of one of the fastest ships in the sector, an obvious precursor to Han Solo in the Millennium Falcon. Nico and Republic trooper Jace Malcolm down a few Sith troopers and droids, allowing the small band to escape into the shuttle bay where they are confronted by two true Sith. Darth Malgus and his master Vindican duel with Shatil and Causen Derek, and the Padawan would have been killed were it not for a timely block by the Battlemaster. Sensing that Shatil will die in the confrontation, Causen Derek sends her off with Nico Okar and Jace Malcolm to warn the Republic of the return of the Sith Empire. Battlemaster is a title within the Jedi Order denoting a veteran with exceptional skills, with lightsaber and force powers. Causen Derek proves these skills, dueling both Sith and even scoring a serious wound to Vindican. It must be said that lightsaber dueling is a spectacle with many flourishes, parries, and strikes not directed at the enemy's body, but at their blade. According to the lore, this is because Force users can sense their opponent's moves, allowing them to dance in a choreography of blades until one duelist makes a mistake. It is only in those windows of error that a strike will be taken that will maim or kill an opponent. This is opposed to medieval sword fighting in the Milky Way galaxy, in which blade strikes are almost exclusively to block incoming attacks, parries to get the enemy's weapon away from his body, followed up by an intentional strike to the limbs or torso to wound or kill the opponent. Fueled by the hatred and passion the Sith are known for, Darth Malgus is able to overcome Causen Derek and kill him. It is only right by Sith culture that Vindican failed in the duel, is fallen and weak, and is therefore no longer worth serving. Darth Malgus kills his master and takes his place as a prominent military commander of the Sith. If you want to support the channel for free, please remember to like the video, subscribe to the channel, ring the bell for new videos, and comment for the common gods. Your viewership alone helps me in the algorithm and is appreciated. If you want to take your support a bit further, please become a YouTube member or join us on patreon.com/counterpoints. Check out the other videos on the channel, support our sponsors, and I'll catch you in the next one.